All right, so now I'd like to introduce your co-host for this lesson. First up is Sandy Simon, and you can see her official title there, Jill of All Trades. And I really mean this. Sandy has been volunteering with CCL for 3 years. For the first couple of years, she served as a co-leader for her San Luis Obispo chapter and headed up their letter writing team. She then began working with CCL National and has been active with the CCL Help Desk. She's been an administrator for the endorsers group. She's been coaching group leaders and municipal resolution teams and really assisting staff with lots of projects. Things I can think of right now, really helping us fine-tune our volunteer match outreach. So she's been involved with lots of different things. She also writes some content for community. Prior to joining CCL, though, Sandy worked as a law office administrator and certified professional coach for over 38 years. So we're very lucky to have Sandy, and she's going to walk through parts of CCL Community Night and demonstrate some of the different features for everyone. And that's me. My name is Ricky Bradley. I'm web developer for Citizens Climate Lobby and the Dallas, Texas group leader. I'm the web developer if things are working well, but if they're not, then I have a friend, a colleague named Tony, and you can email him and tell him how things are really bad. But I live in Dallas, Texas, a Dallas, Texas group leader, been with CCL since 2012. Been a regional coordinator, but right now on staff doing the web development. So really, really loving my job. So I'm going to go ahead right now and I'm going to share my my web browser, and we're going to talk about obviously CCL Community. But first I want to tell you what is CCL Community, especially if you're new to CCL. You're like, what is this thing that everyone's talking about? CCL Community is basically a volunteer portal and a social network. It's where volunteers should go to not only network with each other, but also to find resources and training materials. All the things that you think you may need to become an effective climate advocate, that's hopefully what you'll be able to find on CCL Community. Now, a question we get a lot is, well, why not just have everything on the main site? Well, there are a lot of reasons. I mean, there are a lot of, we wanted to create a network. We wanted people to be able to connect across the country and across the world. And we wanted to be a private network. Not that community is 100% private because anyone can join, but it does keep some of our communications out of the public domain. There's also certain functions and features that we wouldn't want people to have access to and certain information. So the main website is focused on grabbing and getting people to join CCL, and community is really and it's also to tell our story, but the community is really for making sure that we're providing all the resources and also a way for people to connect and to talk and to share ideas. So that's really what, obviously, community. That makes a lot of sense, right? You can see the URL for community. I'll highlight it here in my browser window. It's community.citizensclimatelobby.org. You can also get to it from the main site. I'll show you exactly real quick. So from our main website, you can get to it in a number of different ways. Let me move. I got some boxes in my way here. Let me move my control panel. You can click the Take Action button, and there's a link here for CCL Community, or you can scroll all the way down to the bottom. And sorry about that. There we go. And you can see the very first link at the very bottom of the website, and on every page of our main website, the very first link at the very bottom on the left is CCL Community, and that'll take you right over to the page as well. So the way that you navigate the site, and Sandy's going to go into a lot of detail on this in just a moment, the way to navigate the site really is through this menu that's at the top. This will be at the top of every page. Now, there'll be some pages that have submenus over here on the left-hand side, and we'll go through those in just a moment. But really, if you're getting lost or getting confused, click the home button, click your profile button to get yourself back. Well, let's go ahead and start off this lesson. We're going to start with Sandy reviewing the main menu items that you see at the top of every page. Give me just 1 second. Sandy, let me transfer this screen over to you real quick. Are you there, Sandy? Yep.
I'm here.
Right, let me transfer the screen so you can walk us through.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
We got you. Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ricky, for the introduction, and thanks to all of you who've registered on Community. I'm pleased to be here to introduce you to this very rich and well-organized website. So let's begin by taking a look at the main menu tabs. So we're at the home page now. And these navigation tabs, as Ricky said, are at the top of every page for easy access. So tonight, Ricky and I will be showing you what's inside each of the tabs. Ricky will be going into detail shortly on My Profile, where you can edit your profile, change your password, and more. In the Groups tab, you'll find, in order to find a group, see if it will go into it. Here we go. You can scroll down to the country you're interested in and click on the button on the left, the plus button, and that'll bring up a complete listing of regions and states. So if we go to California, for instance, if you click on the button on the left, it'll bring up all of the chapters that are in the state. Okay, so next we go to the Action Teams tab, where you'll see a listing of all of the action teams, administrative teams, and programs. You can explore teams by clicking on one, say PBS Learning Media Curriculum, where you can learn about the team's mission, and you can join the team by clicking the Join Group button underneath the title of the team. And then you'll be able to access information that's posted by the group administrator and members and get communications from them. In the Members tab, you can quickly find someone who's registered on Community by filling in their name under the Search CCL Volunteers box. So if I fill in my name, it'll take you to the profile picture and a link to them, and you can go to their profile and find out information about them, and you can make them a friend if you want. You can also, let's see, I'll get back to that. You can also search for CCL volunteers by group, district, country, state, and city to find and connect to community members. In the Forum tab, you can read and post notices on a variety of topics. For instance, this is where you'll find roommates for CCL conferences. Under the Forum Quick Tips, you'll find helpful information about navigating through Forum and posting a topic on Forum. So CCU training is Citizens Climate University, which was formerly called CCLU. And this is where you can go for lessons on a wide variety of topics pertaining to various aspects of CCL and carbon fee and dividend. Rick is going to talk more about that soon. Volunteer Resources is our main repository for information on the levers of political will, including outreach, lobbying, media, and chapter development. And I'll be going through that in a little while. Search and Support is the go-to place for finding things on Community. You can search by topic, staffer, you can find a staffer, you can get answers to frequently asked questions, find a local chapter, and you can contact CCL directly through this button. Okay, so those are the main tabs across the top of Community, and then under Quick Links, if you want to contact the help desk, you just push on this button and that'll bring up your email program so that you can send a message to me or whoever's on the help desk. For new volunteers, here's the new volunteer toolkit, which we'll see again in other places, to provide new members with valuable information on how to get started with CCL. In the CCL calendar, you can find out events that are taking place by clicking on the blue buttons at the top left of the screen to scroll through the months. See if I can get back into here. And then monthly actions includes current monthly actions, skills practice, and laser talks, as well as previous month's action sheets, which you can find here. Okay, monthly calls will take you to information about the most current monthly call speaker. And if you missed the meeting, you can listen to the call by pushing on this button here and get the action sheets. And if you scroll down, there's an archive of calls. You can go all the way back to 2011 and listen to calls that are listed by year and month. Lastly, if you're the person who's designated in your chapter to file field reports, you can click on this button here to submit a field report. Okay, so those are the quick link tabs. So Ricky, will you show us how to find help on Community?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me grab control from you again. All right. So a couple other just quick things I wanted just to follow up on the homepage. You'll also notice there's a follow CCL with a bunch of social media icons, and these are CCL's social media accounts. So click on this one, should take you to our Twitter account, where if you're already on Twitter, you can just easily hit follow. And the same thing for all these others. One that's really, really important is our YouTube channel. This is where we put all of our video. So all of our CCU lessons, if you miss them, you can always go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to them, and then when these lessons are posted, you'll be able to automatically receive a notification that there's a new lesson. So when you go to our YouTube channel, there's a big red, or not that big, but there's a red subscribe button over on the right-hand side, and you just click subscribe, and that way you'll be notified whenever there's a new lesson posted. But there's our Instagram and all other kinds of things as well. So just explore, move around there, find us on social media, help spread the word. That's always good. And on the left-hand side, you can see you always get an eye here of who's online as well. So you can see there's Amy Bennett, and there's Sandy, and there's Brett. So that'll always show you like who's online. And then this is our CCU schedule. It's over here on the left-hand side in a widget as well. So you can see what's happening and which lessons are getting ready to take place. And then there's also on the right-hand side here, we've got the latest from the forums. So real quick then, I'm going to walk you through sort of the basics of how to find search and support. So as Sandy mentioned, or as I like to say, we realize that there are lots of people with varying levels of comfort with technology and websites. So we're trying to offer a wide range of ways for people to find help or to get support. So we have this quick link button here on the help desk that Sandy mentioned. You can click this and it sends a question to Sandy. That's the easiest way, I guess, to get support. But there are people like me who like to find their own answers. And if so, then the search and support menu item is for you. So there's a couple of things that are in here. First of all, we have if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a blue button for Community FAQs. And if you click on that, it'll bring up a page that probably has about, I would say 3 or 4 dozen at least frequently asked questions answered, like, how do I reset my password? How do I change my email settings? A little bit about my profile. There's a really in-depth section for group administrators, which we'll actually be covering next week on our CCU lesson. It goes into Buddy Drive and what that is, and we'll touch on that in a little bit here. But the forums, different. So it goes into lots of different things, and it also gives you Sandy's email there again in case you get lost. But going back to the search and support page, you can also see that you can find staffers, the volunteer toolkit, look for local chapters, and then you can also contact CCL if you have a question. You can fill out this form, hit submit. But then there's also the search bar. So Sandy was just talking about this, and so if we want to, let's say we want to look up endorsements, right? We click on endorse, we hit search, and then the search results page that's going to pop up is going to list things by relevancy, not by date. So, here it is right here, getting endorsements, how to, and all other things. So, it'll return as many pages as it finds the word endorsement tagged in. But one thing I would like to say is if you guys are searching for things on Community and having problems finding them, that just means we could probably do a better job of tagging them. And so if you may search for something in a totally different way than I do, and it wouldn't make sense to me, but it makes sense to you, and vice versa. Let us know. Maybe other people are having that same issue. So, like I said, ask Sandy, let her know. You can let me know as well. The other thing I would say is use your group leader as a resource. Most group leaders have been around for quite a while. We do have a lot of new chapters, but if you've been in a group that's been around for quite a while, your group leader will definitely know how to get around Community, or should know. All right, so we're going to go to the profile page real quick. So at the top menu item, again, or the top menu bar, there's the My Profile link. And this is where, when you first sign into Community, when you first sign in Community, you land on your home page. But if you click on somebody's profile, you're going to go to their profile. Clicking on My Profile takes you to your profile, obviously. So let's just take a look at the layout of this page. First of all, you have your crop thumbnail image, but you also have a cover photo, which you can change. You can customize that however you'd like. But I think the main thing that people want to know is, okay, well, how do I edit my profile? So if we scroll down just a little bit here, you'll see in the middle of the page there's an About Me section and a Personal Information section. Now, when you join CCL or you sign up for Community, a lot of this part, the About Me, is already, we've already asked you for it, or you've already selected and let us know where this is. But say you move, right? You may move, you no longer live in Dallas, or you got a new congressional district. You'll want to know how to edit your profile as well. So if we go back to the top here, right below the social media icons, you can see there is an Edit tab. And if I click on that and scroll down just a little bit, you'll see it says Edit About Me. And here's all the information that I just had on the previous screen. And so I could change my chapter to Knoxville, Tennessee. I can change my district, country, anything. But also notice this. Notice below each line, this sentence, this field can be seen by, and by default it's set to all members. But you're certainly able to, if you don't want people to know what congressional district you're in, you can click Change and select Only Me, so you can hide it from people, or Only My Friends on Community. You have a lot of flexibility in what's displayed. And while that's probably not all that important on the About Me page, maybe it is more so on the personal info stuff. So right, remember we looked at My Profile down at the bottom? And so then you would click on the personal information. Oh, I'm not going to save those changes. And you can see here that there are extra fields. So I don't have my phone number on. That's why it didn't show on my profile. But you could put your phone number in here if you'd like, and you can let everyone see it, only your friends. You can put your email, your address. You can put your website. And then this section down here where it has the social media fields, if you were to fill this in with your handles, I'll scroll back up, this is what will happen. It will automatically populate a link to your social media accounts. So, I went in, whoops, let me dismiss that. It's time for me to study. If I were to go in, again, like Instagram, my handle is BradleyRF. I leave that in that field. Maybe I don't want everyone to see this or not. That's fine. I can change that. But what happens is then when I put in my handle there, if I just click on Instagram, it's going to take me to my Instagram. Hopefully no embarrassing photos. No. It's a meeting with a member of Congress. That's good. That's always beneficial. So that's how you edit your profile. Now, let's just look at this submenu a little bit here on the left-hand side. The submenu, there's a notifications button. These are notifications from across the site. So anytime there's a forum you're subscribed to, someone sends you a friendship request, just something that notifies you, not necessarily something you have to respond to. But then there's also messages. So let's talk about how to send a message to someone on Community. So it's important here to note that there are two different types of messages. First of all, there's a private message and a public message. So if I just wanted to send a message to somebody, I click on the Messages tab, and this is just like a normal email program. But I would click on Compose, and it'll bring up the screen where I can compose an email, and then I can just begin typing in a name, and it'll bring up, it auto fills for you so you can find people. Oh, I was trying to find you, Sandy. It's not finding you. But I'll just play like we're going to send it to Amy. If I wanted to send it to multiple people, I would do the same thing. I would keep adding people. There you go, Sandy. And go. You guys won't have this option, I noticed, to all users. That won't be on there for you. But then you just give it a subject and a message, and click Send Message. Notice you can also attach a file if you like, and we'll just send that message. So that's a private message. That's going directly to Amy and directly to Sandy, and it's going to send them an email notification to their personal email to let them know, oh, you got it. Well, there it is right there for Sandy. You got an email. There you go. I'm sorry, I did not plan that. That was pretty good though. So she will receive an email at her on her personal account. But let's go to Sandy's profile page. So I'm going to click on Sandy's picture here, and it's going to take me directly to her profile page. And then notice if I'm going to her profile page, I have the option to send her a public or a private message. Now, a private message is just what we just did. That's just an email, right? Public message is just what it sounds like. It's like telling everyone. So if I wanted to send a public message to Sandy, I can either click the public message button there, or I can actually just write something to her here on her wall. And that's public at that point, and everyone will be able to see it. So say you got something you want everyone to know, or you want to thank a couple of people for something, you can make that a public message. They will still get notified of the public message. All right, so I'm going to go back to, I'll go back to my profile. I don't want to reveal everything on Sandy's profile. Okay, so another couple of things we'll talk about, and then we're going to stop for some questions. So we're going to talk about friending people. So notice, we'll go back to Sandy. When I was just on Sandy's page, it says I have an option here to cancel friendship. That's because we are already friends. Obviously no reason to become friends with her now. But I can click on, let's try someone else that's just, I'm not even sure who's on here right now. Ah, there you go. William and I are not friends. So if I wanted to friend William, I could click add friend here. He would get one of these notifications that we talked about over here in the submenu, the notification submenu, letting him know that I want to be a friend. And then he would choose whether or not he wants to accept the friendship or not. You can, you don't just have to find people by their pictures and their photos on the Who's Online sidebar. Remember, Sandy showed you how you can find people through the members directory page as well. So Sandy covered the groups and the action teams. The only distinction I would just like to make is one little quick distinction on that, and that is that groups, think about G and groups being geographic. So our groups are our chapters. They're our local geographic chapters. Our action teams are people from across the country or maybe even across the world who are focused on a specific particular topic of interest, something related to climate change, but someone has stepped up and said, I think that this is an important thing we should be focusing on, and so they've decided to lead an action team. So they come up with a charter, and as Sandy mentioned, there's for engaging youth, there's environmental justice, there's the conservative caucus, so there's all different types of action teams that are focused on either educating constituencies or expanding CCL's reach into certain communities. So just keep that in mind, groups and action teams, the difference between the two. And the last part that I'll say about that before I show you how to change your password, which I think everyone wants to make sure they know how to do that. With groups, you're not automatically assigned to your chapter's page, your groups page, when you log in, when you sign up for Community. You can think about it the same way as Facebook. They have groups as well. And just because you're in a certain area doesn't mean you're automatically joined to that group. You have to go in and ask permission to or click the join group button. And it's the same way on Community as well. So find your group, join their chapter page, and that way you'll be able to be in communication with them. All right, so let's go ahead and show you the most important question. How do I change my password? All right, so on the left-hand side, I have a few additional menu options here than you guys will have, so don't worry about some of these or that yours may look different. But if you'll see on the left-hand side, there is a settings submenu or settings menu item in your submenu. When you click on that, you'll see what immediately pops up on the page is I can change my account email and I can change my password. And this is answered in the FAQ, so if I were to click back on the FAQs and I said, how do I reset, change my password, you can see there's this FAQ for that as well. So you can change your password here, but here's the other really, really, really important thing. Email profile. Who do you want to receive email from, and when do you want to receive email? So email notices are triggered when certain events happen, and you can change when you want to receive email to your personal email account. Now, if one of these things happens, you're always going to get a message in your CCL community message right over here on the left-hand side that we talked about a few minutes ago. But this is asking you to select when you want an email notice sent to your personal email account. And so, I've got it selected here. If someone mentions me by putting @Ricky anywhere on the website, I'll get a notification. If someone replies to a comment, I'll get a notification. But there's some things I don't want a notification from. A member accepts my friendship request. I don't know why I have that set to no, but I do. So that's how you can change that. Now, the other thing is that groups. Now, groups, you can set your individual group email settings as well. And for some people, that's really important because sometimes group emails can get out of control. So you can change your settings to digest or daily summaries. And let me show you how to do that. So you go back up to your groups, to your profile page. You can select groups from the submenu on the left. And then say I'm on the, let's just go into the liaisons group right now. Okay. And then this is the liaisons group. And if I click manage, or no, email options. Oh no, that's the, hang on, I'm sorry. Yeah, here it is, yeah, email options. And it says, it brings up a new page and it says, how do you want to read this group? You want no email at all? And what that means is the message is going to go only to your community inbox, not to your personal email. Do you want to do a weekly summary, a daily digest, or as soon as someone posts something, have it sent to you. So as soon as something posts to you in that group, have it sent to you. So you got all those 4 options of the way that you could receive email from your group. I think I've gone we're a little bit behind, and I apologize. I'm a little wordy at times. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop here for just a moment, take a couple of questions. We got time for a couple of questions to see if people have. Let me check the questions section to see if there are any questions have been raised so far. No questions right now, so that's good. We're doing a good job. And let me see if anyone's hands raised. Let's see, I don't see any hands raised and no questions in the questions box. So if you guys have questions, again, I'll show you on the presentation here. You should see this questions pane in your control panel. Just click on the little plus sign to open it up and type your question in there. But if we don't have any questions, Sandy, what I'll do is I'm going to turn it back over to you, and you can walk us through the resources section and really help people find out what is the best way to find resources. Obviously, the thing that most people struggle with on community. So I'm going to turn that over to you.
Thanks, Ricky.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to take you through the highlights and the most commonly used volunteer resources. And one thing you'll notice is that some resources, such as laser talks, pertain to more than one section. And hang on just a moment. Let's see, I'm not where I want to be. And they're available in multiple locations throughout community for your use. So if we go to the first tab on the left, New Volunteer Resources, once again we find the New Volunteer Toolkit, which is in several places in community. So that's where new members can go excuse me, to access a multitude of resources, such as signing up for the intro call, registering for the climate advocate training, reviewing basics on carbon fee and dividend. And here laser talks are organized by topic, which is very handy. And it's very complete as well. Another thing that you could, if you're new, probably enjoy is the glossary of commonly used terms. You might want to know what a LTE and a MOC are. I've had several questions come in about those things from new people. Letter to the editor and member of Congress, you'll find those there. The New Volunteer Opportunities handout is also a great tool to help you discover practical ways in which you can further political will on your own and within your chapter. There is also quite a lot of training available to new volunteers, including fee and dividend basics and border tax adjustments. All right, so we go now to chapter resources, and you can find monthly actions and call meeting information and action sheets in this section. And for group leaders, there are a lot of resources, including useful tools on how to build and maintain a chapter, organize volunteers, delegate work, and even how to facilitate a meeting. If you want to learn how to lead a group start workshop for your area, you can find training information and handouts in this section. And finally, there's training for group and chapter leaders, including how to run an effective meeting and growing your local group. In outreach resources, you'll find many tools to connect CCL with other groups and organizations, specific audiences, and the general public. These include tabling, presentations, endorsements, gathering letters and postcards, and educating at public and private events. You can order many items for outreach through the cclsigns.com store, which offers a slight discount for you, including business cards, brochures, flyers, postcards, sign-up sheets, and banners, just to name a few. You can also find information, I'm going to scroll down here, on endorsements, which Ricky has talked about previously. Let's say, for instance, you're interested in working on a municipal resolution with your city council. You can click on the link here, and that'll take you to the municipal resolutions page, where you can see many examples of the cities which have passed carbon fee and dividend resolutions through last month. Okay, in this section you'll also find targeted outreach resources and many types of training on a variety of topics, including tabling and effective communication. Under lobbying resources, you'll find all manner of information and a variety of training videos on lobbying your members of Congress, including a rating scale that CCL uses to rate where a member stands on supporting carbon fee and dividend, and climate opinion polls, which is part of the Yale project, to see how your state voted about climate. There are online action tools here if you want to write, call, or tweet your member of Congress, and also guidance on election year activities and on staying nonpartisan during the campaign season, which might be timely. Under bills, resolutions, committees, and caucuses, you'll find legislation of interest, and you can download a list of bills which have been introduced in the House right here that are similar to carbon fee and dividend. And these are great tools when you're talking to your members of Congress. Okay. Also important is New York Representative Chris Gibson's resolution recognizing the impact of climate change and calling for action to reduce further risk. And there are trainings, of course, and information on submitting meeting minutes and thank you cards. Okay, media resources. If you're new to letter writing and writing letters to the editor and op-eds, you can visit this section for examples of published letters and op-eds. You can send a letter to your member of Congress by using the online action tools. where you fill in your contact information and the body of your letter, and it'll be automatically sent to your member of Congress. If you want to try your hand at writing an op-ed, there are examples of op-eds that have been published by CCL volunteers here. For meetings with editorial boards, there's an editorial meeting binder which you can look at to create your own binder and take it with you to your meetings. There are samples of published editorials from supportive newspapers, and also press releases and media packets. The use of social and digital media are discussed in here. And finally, there's media training in CCU at these links in effective letter writing and editorial board meetings and the like. I'm going to skip over Spanish language resources, but that's also something to explore if you're interested in that or need that. Reports, studies, and analysis. You'll find reports and analysis of carbon fee and dividend and its impact on the American economy. Included here are the REMI report, household impact study, and the dividend delivery study. Under educational resources, you're provided with resources for educating yourself on various aspects of climate change, climate policy, and citizen engagement. There are links here to CCU videos, laser talks, again, laser talks, CCU videos. Conference presentations you might find interesting because it also has all of the current conference video links, Podbean links, and downloaded PowerPoint presentations for all, well, maybe not all of them, but almost all of the breakout sessions and keynotes and that sort of thing that went on. And here's the climate comedy. Okay. Additionally, you'll find a library of climate science videos and information on such topics as the Paris Climate Accord, national security, and the health impacts of climate change. So great educational resources for all volunteers from brand new to well-seasoned are found in educational resources. In fundraising resources, you'll find information on where to go to donate to Citizens Climate Education. You'll find fundraising brochures and request letters, how to fundraise for your chapter, and even fundraising 101 training. And lastly, if you're looking for a resource from years past, you can go to the archived resources, and there you'll find monthly action sheets, letters to the editor, conference resources, and media booklets. So we've looked at some of the many resources available through the volunteer resources section, which contains a treasure trove of information. I hope you're energized by all the great tools and learning opportunities that are available to you on the community website. I encourage you to go back into these tabs and explore them on your own and discover the wealth of information that's available to our volunteers. If you don't find something in here that you're looking for, or you have a suggestion about something to add, please write to me at the CCL Help Desk. So Ricky, you're up next to talk about CCU.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandy. That was very thorough. I appreciate that. That was fantastic. So I see Craig has his hand up. So Craig, let me talk. I'll give you just a second to get yourself ready. Give me 1 second just to talk about CCU, and then we will take some questions here. So the Citizens Climate University training is where you will go to find all of our digital content, but also all of our on-demand just e-learning that we have available for volunteers. And you know, it should look kind of familiar. It's kind of very familiarly laid out, like the resources page that Sandy just went into detail on. So this provides our volunteers with, you know, like tonight with live instructor-led training, but also, you know, e-learning topics that are on demand. all the things that we may need to create the political will for a livable world. And much like the resources page, it defaults to the new volunteer learning in the menu, and you can see like just like there was on the resources side, the introductory call, climate advocate training. But it's also broken out all of our training by what we call the levers of political will, the three things that we do that we think will move Congress to action, and that being lobbying, media, and outreach. There's some climate science stuff in here as well. Obviously, you can go and learn that, but there's a wealth of climate science information on the web. There's probably not much more that we would be able to add to it. So it's not something that we really focus on as far as our resources. We could not do it justice like other organizations do. So we just refer people to those. But there are some specific topics that some people within our organization are experts on, and so they've given some talks. And so you're welcome to go in and check those out. But then the lobbying tab is really, this is the treasure trove. These are where all of our lessons are, so these lessons aren't just, webinars. They're also podcasts. So if I click on Lobbying 301, here's the podcast. You can listen to it. You can watch the webinar. Some of them also have the actual text of the lesson. So if I go back to the main CCU page, though, I really want to show you what's under lobbying, which is really exciting, and it's down near the bottom, but we have this relationship now with the Congressional Management Foundation, and this is a group that actually does a lot of research into Congress. They've been around for about 40 years. They're former staffers and Capitol Hill wonks, policy wonks, and they survey Congress all the time. And what they have done, they've really become a consulting company for people who want to be involved with citizen engagement or organizations that are focused on citizen engagement and democratic participation. And so they've provided all these, we have a partnership with them, and they have all these webinars in here. And these are all really short. These are less than 10 minutes, but really packed with information. So really good stuff to go. And then they also have some reports they provided us. And then this is a longer webinar here. But probably the really most vital webinar we've been able to get our hands on with these guys is this Best Ways to Communicate with Congress webinar. So lots of information in there. If you have folks who are wondering how to lobby, that's where you send them. Again, media lessons, outreach lessons, policy and economics. There's a lot in here. Obviously, this is in our wheelhouse. Fee and dividend, border tax stuff, international carbon pricing efforts, and then there's some stuff in here too, like Sandy mentioned earlier. We just don't kind of know where to categorize it, like using the Yale climate opinion maps. We have people from Yale on that did a webinar to teach us that. Energy 101, a really good webinar. And then you can also always see the live training schedule. The upcoming schedule is over here on your left. And if you're a really eagle eye, you'll notice that this one says it already took place, even though we're still in it. And then it's got the information on how you may join as well, about GoToWebinar and everything there. All right, so I think what we're going to do here is we got about 15 minutes left. So what I'm going to do is see if we got questions. And I see that Craig has one, and if other people have one as well, we'll take some time for questions. And if we have some extra time, maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Buddy Drive system as well. So Craig, I do see that you have your hand up. I'm going to go ahead and unmute your line if you want to go ahead and let us know where you're joining us from today, and then fire away with your question, Craig.
Hello, Ricky and Sandy and all the listeners. I'm Craig Preston, Southern California Coordinator, and thank you for having this webinar. Community does seem so powerful. I'm glad to see other areas that I've just never explored before. The question is that I've been on multiple teams at times where we're planning something, and there's maybe 3 of us, maybe 5, maybe 20, maybe 100, and we wonder, we have this debate, should we use some type of distribution list, or should we use community somehow? And I see community seems really strong in the area of the action teams and being able to post some things, but if there's going to be quick interaction between people and quick responses, I guess some people, click it to just see it once a day or once a week. Would you recommend, like Northern California has done, to use a Yahoo group?
Yeah. So that's a great question, Craig. And so, yeah, there are things that community is is designed for and it's really good at, and there are things that it's not as good as a Google group at doing. Google Group or Yahoo Group is like you said, it's a list distribution, right? It's an email list thing, and you don't have to log in anywhere to reply, right? Whereas, Community is more like a Facebook type social network where you will get an email message, but you can't right now. We are trying to implement this, but you can't reply to the email right from your own personal email inbox. So it is a little bit of a hassle. You have to sign in and reply. So I think that, yeah, there's definitely some advantages that Yahoo and Google Groups have, but I think really honestly that's the main one. And it's easier for people to join a Google group or Yahoo group, especially if they've already got a Google group or Yahoo group account, right? It's really simple. So I don't know the answer, Craig. I think the way I would say it is really try to figure out what your needs are. I think the action teams and the groups are good because, the way that they can reach across boundaries, and you can find people who are, CCL volunteers all across the world by being on Community. And maybe you'll find some more interest in your group or your topic because you have it on Community. So, I mean, I'm not sure the exact answer there. I think, like I said, it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for instant email communication and being able to reply to threads, then, yeah, I mean, Yahoo groups and Google groups are probably better suited for that.
Great. Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a question that comes up quite a bit. Well, we are trying to implement the reply by email function. We actually had it working a few months ago, and then something broke and the conference happened, and we just haven't had a chance to get back to it, honestly. Okay, so let's go to Jordan has a question. Let me see here. Let me expand the questions pane. Oh, and I see Abaya's got some questions in here too, so we'll address her. Okay, let's see. Jordan says, is there an action team that specializes in communicating with the public or government officials through journalism op-eds, or is this responsibility held and assigned by the local chapter? Jordan, great question. Actually, this is something I've been thinking about lately, is that we need a letter action team or a journalism or media outreach action team that really focuses specifically on that. So there's not one right now, but that is something we're really focused on pulling together in the fall to increase our presence there. But great question. So right now, yeah, it's pretty much up to the local groups and the local chapters to do that. Sandy, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yes, it is. An LTE action team is under discussion at present.
Yeah, I love the idea. I mean, it's one of our levers, right? Why don't we have an action team for it? It makes total sense. Okay, Abaya asks, is it true that people have to pre-register for each of the CCU webinars? Yes, it is. Well, you have to register for the webinars, absolutely. Maybe I could look in to see if there's a system where we can allow people to register once and be subscribed to all of them, but I'm not aware of it, but I'll look into that. But right now, yes, you would need to come to the CCU page like we are right here, click on the CCU menu item at the top, click on the lesson. So for next week, or let's say the endorser program training here, I'll click on that. It'll bring up the event. And then there is a register for the webinar link there. So yeah, so right now that is the case, Abaya. Let's see, Dr. Alan Miller asks, is there any group within CCL that discusses the pros and cons of specific solutions to mitigating global warming? I don't think that there's an action team, Dr. Miller, but I'll tell you, we do have this forum, which I'll show you here real quick. And there is, I believe, once it loads, if I scroll down, there is a climate science, pricing carbon. Yeah, so there are some pricing carbon. There's other policy. There's a carbon fee and dividend forum, but there's also an other policy forum where people can discuss, and even an economics forum where people can discuss different things there as well. There's not an action team that's really devoted to discussing the pros and cons of that, but you know, maybe something that Dr. Miller would want to get started. I don't know. All right. Let's see. Let me check up to see if there's any other questions or any other hands raised real quick. Oh, Craig, I'm going to put your hand back down. There we go. I don't think so. Okay, so the last thing I'll touch on, because we do have about 7 minutes, let me just touch on one last thing that sometimes people struggle with. Hopefully I can explain it in a way that makes sense. So if you go to a group or an action team, or if you're a member of a group or an action team, let's just go to the agricultural committee first. So I'm going to open up that page, and you'll notice they have this link on the left-hand side in the submenu on the left side called Buddy Drive. So what is Buddy Drive? Well, Buddy Drive, if anyone's familiar with Google Drive, it's exactly the same, but its own community. So what it is it is a drive or a storage system that's attached to your personal profile. Okay, but you're like, wait a minute, I see it here on this agriculture committee team. How can they be attached to my personal profile? Well, because just like with Google Drive, you can share files to different groups or to different people on Google Drive, but here you can share it to groups. So let me just walk you through an example real quick. I'm going to go to my profile. And you're going to see I have a link here for Buddy Drive. And when I click on it, it's going to open up a folder that looks a lot like how do you upload a file to a drive, right? So it'll say, and everything I'm going over right now, if I'm going over it pretty fast, there's a very detailed explanation of all this in the FAQs. If you go, I'm showing you here real quick, Buddy Drive. This whole section here, about 7 or 8 help topics that will walk you through how to use it. And so, Craig, that might be one advantage, too. If you think about Yahoo Groups, I'm not sure if Yahoo Groups actually has file storage associated with their groups, but so that's one thing maybe that Community has an advantage on. So to upload a file, you simply click the new file. You describe it. I'm just going to say test. You hit next step. And then this is how you assign things to different groups. So if the next thing that pops up is it asks, okay, define your sharing option. And if I want to keep it just to myself and keep it on my own personal drive, that's fine. I leave it as private. Or I can password protect it. I can make it public so anyone who comes to my profile can find it, or friends. Or I select one of my groups. Okay, so I'm going to click one of my groups, hit next step, and then it's going to say, okay, well, I'm not going to do the test full. Oh, let's do the Mississippi Gulf Coast chapter. And then it'll say upload your file. I click upload file. Hopefully I don't have anything dirty on here. I'm just kidding. All right, I'll put, I'll have to edit that out of the webinar. So I'll just upload this PHP file. Oh, actually, I don't think they take PHP files. I don't think I have any images. Oh, wait, I got images in here somewhere. There we go. I'll upload an action sheet. Okay. So, oops, there it goes. It did it really quick. Yeah, it's gave me the security warning here. I couldn't upload PHP. So there it is. So it says, okay, here's the action sheet. It's on my drive, but if I remember, I shared it with the Mississippi Gulf Coast, right? So let's go to the Mississippi Gulf Coast page, that group. And I'm just going to type in probably Gulf Coast. Should be good enough. Hit search. That brings up their page. And if I click on their page, left-hand side, click on Buddy Drive. We will see now that in their folder is the action sheet. So they've got the action sheet in their folder now. So hopefully that explains a little bit of the confusion around Buddy Drive. Just remember, it's associated with your own personal profile, and you can choose to share things with groups. And if you do, it'll show up in their Buddy Drive. You can always take it away, take permissions away, whatever you want to do. You can provide people a link to it as well, and you can even remove it too. So lots of different options. Hopefully it provides a little flexibility for folks who are looking to store files and to keep a record of things as well. Let's see, I don't see any other questions in the questions pane, and I don't see any other hands raised. So Sandy, did you have anything that you wanted to add? We got about 2 minutes, or we'll close out.
No, I'm good. Thank you, Ricky.
Absolutely. Well, just before we close, Sandy, I just want to thank you. If you guys don't know Sandy, again, she mans the CCL help desk for your questions. There are days where she gets lots and lots of questions, and she answers them promptly. So, just kudos and thanks for all your hard work and your effort that you do that you put in to make sure that everyone has a smooth and a great experience, not only on community but as citizen advocates as well. So, really, really appreciative of what you're doing. Thanks, everyone. That's it for tonight. We'll have next week, if you are a group leader and you would like to learn more about how you can use community, I think sort of towards what Craig was asking, how to have group events, you have your own chapter web page, how to leverage Buddy Drive a little bit more, and then how to really take advantage of some of the settings that we have for groups. We'll go into a lot more detail about that next week. And so, Craig, that might be a good lesson for the group leaders there who are considering using community or some other type of resource to sort of weigh the pros and cons. But that's it for tonight. Thanks, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week.